Hey review family, keep it tight. My name is Jay Morris, a review guy, and I'm back again to bring you another video, and then this one I'm going to be covering the new In Flames album, I, The Mask. So In Flames, they are a Swedish heavy metal band formed in 1990. This is their 13th studio-length album. They're one of the bands that are responsible for really helping develop the Swedish death metal as well as the melodic death metal scene, along with bands such as Dark Tranquillity and At the Gates. They've went through quite a few lineup changes throughout their very long career. Bryce Paul and Tanner Wayne are the bassist and drummer for the band, and they just joined like last year and the year before that. Through the 2000s, especially the 2010s, In Flames have been experimenting with more of an alternative metal and a metalcore sound. This all came to a cohesive head in their 2016 album, Battles, which, in my personal opinion, is one of their weakest, if not their weakest album, because it feels very bloated, it feels very one-dimensional, and despite the fact that they did have some nice riffing, some nice vocals, and some nice structures, they sacrificed memorability and gave way to being very one-dimensional and plastic in the way that they built their songs and the techniques that they used and the influences that they took their pull from. With In Flames going deeper and deeper into this kind of alternative metal stylistic basis, I was really curious to see what they were going to be able to do going forward. I actually caught them live last December, and they put on a really good show, and it kind of got me excited to know what their next album was going to be, because I knew that this year they were going to release something. I'm not sure if back then I knew like the name of the album and stuff was released. It might have been. If I'm forgetting, I apologize, but I was very excited to see what they were going to be able to do. And here we are with I, The Mask. 12 tracks. 50 minutes. Without a doubt, this is a huge step up from Battles, and I enjoyed this album quite a bit, a lot more of it than I didn't, and I was a bit weary about the time frame of this album, the fact that it was nearing an hour's worth of material, because with this type of style and knowing in my mind what Battles was doing, I was a little bit worried that it was going to end up being a little bit one-dimensional, feeling a little bit bloated, like they should have given it a bit more room to breathe or cut some trim the fat down a little bit. I can safely say that while there are some weaker moments on this album, there's not really a point in the track listing that I feel is just a complete and total dud from start to finish. They teamed up with the renowned producer Howard Benson, the multi-Grammy nominated producer who's produced with everyone from Kelly Clarkson to Hoobastank to All American Rejects to the album Three Cheers for Sweet Revenge by My Chemical Romance to Flyleaf to Daughtry to, I mean, they have produced for quite a bit. Skillet, 3 Days Grace. And without a doubt, this album sounds very well produced, but there's one gripe that I have for so much heavy metal music. The bass might as well be non-existent. I hear it, I know the parts it's at, but I'm literally having to go through an Amazon rainforest of other instrumentation to try to discover what the bass is trying to do. And it is a little distracting when you're having to listen to a composition and you are trying to find an instrument that's supposed to be in that composition, but it's mixed to the point to where it's so difficult to hear over the lead guitar and the rhythm guitar. That being said, the drum work done by Tanner is absolutely monstrous. It's ferocious. Joe Rickard also doing the drums on this album. That's so visceral. They're punchy, they are driving, they are powerful. There's so much energy behind them, they're so fun, they're doing so much in the composition, and I really do think it's phenomenal that they're mixed to such a way that you can really audibly hear them very well, prominently in every single track. I do like that. The guitars and the vocals and the compositions, and pretty much everything about this album, gives me a Bullet for My Valentine vibe. And I never thought that I would be saying Bullet for My Valentine as well as In Flames in the same word, but in the same sentence. But come on, listen to, say, the album, listen to Venom by Bullet for My Valentine, and then listen to I, The Mask by In Flames, and tell me that there are not some big similarities between that album and this album. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. It adds a little bit more dimension to this album. It's very thrashy, it's very chuggy. A lot of these tracks chug along just powerfully and viscerally, and you're getting these vocals that range from cleaner vocals, these kind of metalcore-esque choruses that are very lively, very empowered, very shouty, usually doing some lyrics that can be considered a little bit atypical or stereotypical, but are delivered with a lot of force and vigor. You get some growls from here to there that really remind me of some of their older stuff, which I do really enjoy, and you also get these black metal-esque screech that Anders does really well, where it's just kind of like like very throaty and raspy, and I do enjoy it when he's kind of mixing those vocals with his growls or his clean vocals. Sometimes that happens few and far between, but I do like those parts a lot, and they stand out in the mix in my opinion. The chorus for voices annoyed me from the very first time I heard it, but it has grown on me quite a bit. It does break up a lot of this thrashy, chuggy riffs. This album feels a lot more thrash than it does alternative metal in my opinion. Some of these riffs, like I said with Bullet for My Valentine, remind me a lot of this kind of melodic metalcore, melodic hardcore type of sound, with the drums and guitars being very chuggy and the vocals ranging from cleans to shrieks to growls. It's literally just spot on, well done. Same with I the Mask. It gets right into the heaviness, right into the brutality with this refrain just promise. Wasn't a growl, it was more of a shriek. I did not do that very well. Hey, I'm a music critic. I never said I was good at making my own music. God, this guitar is so easy to get behind. It's so moshy. It's so headbanging. It's a nice riff that repeats itself. And to be honest, the guitar solo on this track is probably the best on the album. And sometimes the guitar solos can feel like they're just there to pad time out, that they aren't doing anything that is so amazing that they should be enveloping the back end of these tracks so much. But the guitar solo on this track really does work out well. I like how off-kilter and down-tuned it sounds, but it's still very lively and passionate. Do really enjoy it. I can't get over I Am Above. I love this track so much. It is so dark, it's so gloomy, but it's so powerful and thrashy, and I can't get over this refrain of when the guitars and drums come together to do this 3-bang hit with Anders just going, I am above. Kind of reminds me of like early Danny Warshnop from Asking Alexandria, like Stand Up and Scream era. These comparisons, I can't believe I'm using Asking Alexandria and Bullet for My Valentine to describe In Flames albums, but it's the best I can do. The mix on this chorus is so catchy, and the melodic riffs on this track are just to die for. They're breathtaking, they're great. Follow Me is a nice cool down point in the track listing. It's a lot more gloomy as an aesthetic. It has a nice atmosphere, nice acoustic guitars, but it also has some of those smashing riffs, especially in the chorus, and Anders sounds great on this track. I will be the first to say probably that I do prefer his heavier vocals as opposed to his cleans, because while he is a clean vocalist, I don't think that he brings enough to the table compared to the major slew of really great metalcore, specifically progressive metalcore bands when it comes to clean vocals. I think that he adds that aggression, but his harsher vocals work better with these compositions. With like great vocalists such as like Sam Carter and Jesse Cash, and just some really great vocalists in progressive metalcore. It's hard for me to say, yeah, I would put Anders above them. I think it breaks up the compositions well when he does these clean vocals, and it still works well. It's just, I think it would work better if he was doing those harsher vocals more often, but hey, apples and oranges. Stay With Me was not what I expected for an ender, but I never knew I needed it until I did, I guess. You know that old quote. It's 5 minutes and 17 seconds, and it's another cool down point, but at the end of the album. Beautiful acoustic guitars, and going against what I just said, Anders' singing voice on this track is probably, well, I know it is, it's the best it is on this entire album. It sounds endearing, heartfelt, and emotional. It feels like this really does come from a place of vulnerability, and I love the instrumentation on this track. It sounds gorgeously assembled. It sounds meticulous in its simplicity, and I love it. So yeah, I'm very impressed by this album, if that isn't apparent already. Much more impressed by it than their recent output, especially Battles, and I'd be stupid to overlook the fact that this album still is a little bit one-dimensional, a little bit stereotypical for the genre, and I'd be stupid to say it was groundbreaking, because it's not, but it's a fun listen, it's exhilarating, it's electrifying. They really did try to do some diversity, and this far into In Flames' career, I'm glad they're still making music that is good. Liked it a lot more than the recent stuff, what can I say? And it's nice and thrashy and melodic, good vocal performances, good instrumental performances, good production. Yeah, hate me if you want. I'm giving this album an 8 out of 10, and that is a wrap. Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, you can post in the comment section below, and let me know if you've heard this album. I'll put in the end screen some other videos that you may like, so if you want to wait, you can see if there's any other reviews that you'd like to watch. And subscribe to the channel, smash that notification bell to be notified of my future uploads, and I'll talk to you guys next time. But until then, my name is Jay Morris, the Review Guy, and I'm signing off saying farewell.